Hey guys, what's up? It is Brookie. Welcome back to Paranormal Table Talk. I am so excited to be back. I know that we have been on hiatus for the last couple of months, but I hope you guys' holiday was beautiful. I hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful spring weather that we're having here, and I hope that you guys continue to have a blessed day. And if you guys are not, I hope it gets better. But I am so glad to be back. I'm so glad to get back into this with you guys. There's so many things that we can talk about. I've asked on Instagram some things that you guys would like us to talk about, and a lot of you liked the Reddit reactions idea, and a lot of you said that you would like me to talk about skinwalkers, and I'm absolutely terrified to do so, but we are going to do that. We are going to do that, and we are going to get straight back into this paranormal podcast. No questions asked. Let's get back into it. So, our first episode, we're going to do Reddit reactions. I think that that's an awesome way to get back into it. We could just read some stories, react to them together, talk about them together. And then we're going to get back into some of the really in-depth talks that you guys like our experiences, other people's experiences, and bringing people on. But for our first episode, let's do Reddit reactions. If you guys don't understand the rules, I'm going to break it down for you guys right now. So basically, Reddit Reactions is just an extension to what we had last year, where we read Reddit stories about people's experiences, but we never ever went in depth about what we liked or didn't like about the stories. We would read them, kind of speak about it, and move on. Reddit Reactions is just us actually getting into what we like or don't like about the story, and we're gonna actually rate it at the end of us reading it. So it's going to be 1 to 3. So 1 point being the least, 3 being the best. And we're grading it off of spelling. We're grading it off of how believable it is and how scary it is. I say spelling because a lot of the time when I can't understand what you guys are typing out, it's really hard to grasp the story, and I have to kind of skip over words or skip over some things. So that's why we're doing it like that. But I'm ready to get into it. I have a few stories that I want to read, and I'm kind of excited. This is my first time reading them. I've had them saved in my phone for months, and now I'm actually reading it with you guys. We're going to be reacting together for the first time. So let's get into this first story. This first story is called "My 2-year-old son claims that he sees a ghost every night." Mm-mm. And the story reads, "I hope everyone is having a nice evening or night. After reading a few posts from the sub, I thought that I'd post something that's been happening with us. Exactly like the title says, my 2.5-year-old keeps mentioning that he sees a ghost. And it's been almost daily, every night, for about 2 weeks now at our new house. My fiance is 26, and so am I. FYI, the first time this had happened was the first night that we moved in. We moved in about 10 minutes away from our previous home. No, the house is not old. It was built in 2008, and there have been no deaths here. Also, he never said this at our old house, but okay. I was putting my little man down in his crib for the night, and like I've done every single night for over a year, I said goodnight to all of his stuffed toys in his room, then to him, and then I kissed him on his hands. It's something he's had me do for a very long time now every night. As I walked to the door to leave the room, I walked outside of his room, turned around and looked at him with the door open. I said, 'Good night, I love you, son's name,' like I do every night. Now, instead of him saying, 'Night, night, love you too,' like he always does, he was simply laying on his back, pointed to, and I know this sounds corny AF, the corner of his room. He then said very clearly, 'Ghost.' I was like, WTF, did I hear that right? So I asked, 'What did you say, bud?' And he replied, in the accent of a toddler, 'Ghost in my room.' He didn't seem scared or shocked or anything, but to BH, I was a little weirded out. So I just said, 'You're okay, bud. Where?' He pointed at the corner again and said, 'Ghost.' I told him not to worry and to try to get some sleep, and said goodnight to him, and I told him that I love him again. He repeated 'Ghost,' and then looked at me and said, 'I love you, Dada,' and then I closed the door. Now, before I go on, I want to say that we have never talked about or mentioned anything about ghost with him or around him. There isn't one situation that I can think of that we've talked about a ghost with him. And even if we did, he's freaking 2.5 years old. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have an inkling or remembering or even understanding what we're talking about. Also, the kid doesn't even know what death is. And I don't think he would just be saying this to freak me out. Anyways, the next day I asked him if he remembered what he said last night around dinner time at his grandparents' place, soon to be in laws, and he clearly said ghost in my bed. WTF? LOL. We all just kind of laughed it off because we all thought maybe he heard about it at daycare or this past Halloween or something. I mean, we really have no idea where else he could have heard about ghosts. Last night he did it too. Pretty much every single night we've been here. Now, to be honest, there is no feeling of a bad energy here whatsoever, and nobody in either of my fiance's family or mine have passed away too recently. Does anybody have an experience in the same situation, like either hearing someone talk about it or having personally been through something similar? And then they go on just like asking their questions. So let's dive into first, like the rating for the story. Now, first of all, like I said, we would be rating it 1 through 3. The spelling was perfect. The story was actually very much believable. And it was really scary because I say it was really scary just simply because imagine putting your child like to sleep and they're like that little that where they can't really fully grasp an understanding of the afterlife or like paranormal, and they're like talking to you and they're like ghost in my room. They can barely form a sentence, but they're able to tell you that they're seeing something that you can't see. That's actually really scary. Like imagine somebody that has no idea about this paranormal stuff, they don't talk about it, and then that happens. So that's really scary and really believable because they didn't try to dramatize it either. It wasn't like, oh, my child saw like a demon throw a couch. Like it was like a pretty basic, like, my child's claiming to see a ghost, which happens a lot, mind you, because kids are more open and like sensitive to that kind of stuff anyway. So that's actually pretty believable. The fact that the kid was just like, there's a ghost, da da da, and then would go on playing. Like, my son has done that before, and it's just kind of like a moment of WTF, but like, how do you react? You can't. There's nothing that you can really do. But I definitely think that that is absolutely terrifying, and I give it a full 3. Like, I give it an A plus. Like, that story was very believable. It was very cool. It was very like, like I say again that it was believable because it wasn't over dramatized. And I know a lot of people will over dramatize their stories with the paranormal. And I'm not saying that every single person does it, but a lot of people, like I've had people come up to me and like tell me their stories. And because they know I'm into the paranormal, they try to dramatize their experience and like make it sound cooler than it is. But I think any paranormal experience is cool, so you don't have to over dramatize it to make it cool. So I'm really interested in to know like a follow up, like if this kid still sees the ghost or not, because this story, I believe, yeah, this was like 2 months ago. So this is like a fresh story. Like this is freshly fresh. You guys can see this story on Reddit under r-paranormal encounters under the name Big Too Small. That's BIGTOOSMALL. And you can like read the comments or talk about it in the comments. But I personally really enjoyed that story because it wasn't too long either. Which I know that like sometimes you have to have all those details to really make us understand the depth and the gravity of the story. But when it's like 7 pages, I'm like, oh, I don't want to read all this. So I think that the length was perfect. All the spelling was perfect. Like you could tell that they proofread it and made sure everyone could understand it. They even had like little parentheses. So we had like smaller details about the house or about what was going on. I really appreciated that. And it was nice. It was a nice, clean cut story. So I give that story a solid 3 out of 3. That was really, really good. That was awesome. So we're going to move on to the next story. Tell me what you guys vote this story to be. Again, as long as you guys are respectful, talk about your opinions and share it down below, but just be kind and respectful always to each and every story writer or person that I am reading their experience. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Good job, Big Too Small. I like that. So this next story is really short and it has to do with another child. So again, it's under the same paranormal encounters like profile on Reddit, but the name of the people that submitted it is party like dash independent dash 38. And it said summer wow, it said sun said a number combination before hearing it. Possible experience here, and I'm curious on people's opinions. We were on a short road trip to a playground. We made a stop at a grocery store and we've never been here before. Only my wife went in to use the restroom. When she came out, she stated that there was a code to use the restroom. When my son, 5 years old, said 2533, kind of ignoring him. I asked my wife what the code was, and then she said it was 2533. I thought she was joking, so I asked her again, and she said that she wasn't kidding. So we have this sort of pinky swear thing we do, and she swore by then, and I totally believe her. Paranormal or just coincidence. Now this is like, because it was so short, I cannot say it was paranormal. Because he didn't experience something with the undead or like a ghost. I can say that it's actually really weird though. Like, I don't know if I personally would consider it paranormal. Maybe he's asking if it's paranormal because like he thinks maybe a spirit could have told him the combination, but that's kind of far fetched and really random. Um, I say that's not paranormal. I say scare factor. This is about a one. I think that it's the spelling was great. The story was really short. Like it was literally like five sentences. But I think that it was not paranormal. I definitely think that it was creepy. Like your child has some like powers, but it was not paranormal. Um, but it definitely like was not scary. It's just kind of like, oh wow, that was weird. Kids are really weird. I am not gonna lie. Like kids do and say some things that make you question reality. Like, is anything real? Because the way that kids live and like the things that they know without like I don't know. It's just crazy the things that kids do. Like I had a similar experience where I don't think it was paranormal, but my niece looked up and she was about the same age, 5 years old, and she looks up in the sky and she's like, I see a white castle. There's like white horses, and of course I'm thinking heaven. Like these kids see and are so close to things that we as adults probably like lose contact with because we get older and we get boring and we like life takes a toll. So like we get cut off from that kind of energy from that side. But I definitely think that that's not paranormal, but that's definitely like I would be like, is my son a psychic? Like I would be questioning some stuff because that's kind of crazy. But I rate this story, I'll give it a two. It was not scary, but it was spelled really well. And like, I would like to say experiencing something like that in the moment was probably really, really cool. So I'll give that story a solid two. Last story, it says my son says a lady talks to him while I'm asleep, and her or this person's name is Spanks the Plank. All right. I think the trend for today is kids, specifically young boys. Okay. Anyways, it says my son has a lady talk to him while he sleep. Hi all. I thought that I would ask on here. I couldn't find anything similar on the internet. Okay. Since my son was little, he's like 15 now, he has advised me that when he's asleep, a lady talks to him. I've asked him many questions. What does she say? Do you recognize her voice? How often does she talk to you, etc.? So apparently, he can never remember what she says. He may remember a small part, but not the whole convo. Just what she's roughly talking about. But from what he said, it's positive, nice things, so it was a good experience. He doesn't know the voice, and she will talk to him 2 out of 4 nights. So, not every night. Oh, 4 nights. Sorry. This has gone on for about 8 or 9 years or so. I'm just curious. Has anything or anyone had anything similar happen? That's definitely paranormal. That is kind of creepy that he doesn't remember. But let's be the bad guy, even though I'm totally into this. Could your son just be dreaming this every other night? Could he be like on his phone and then he like falls asleep while his phone is on and he thinks he's hearing a woman's voice, but it's really just his phone playing while he's asleep? Realistic things. Could he just be hearing you talk because you're still awake and he thinks that he's having a conversation? Um, but on the like paranormal geek side, could an actual spirit just really be keeping your son company every night? And even though it's positive, I would still kind of be freaked out. Like, why is this lady so attached to my child? Like, I personally, I believe in like attachments and things. And because she's talking to him so often, like literally like that could be every night because you're saying 2 out of 4 times a week. That's literally every other day that he's having a conversation with this spirit full blown and he has no idea what they're talking about the next day. So it's kind of worrisome. I would set up a camera in his room. And just see what's happening. Of course, get consent from your child. Don't just set a camera up in there. And maybe don't turn it on until he's actually asleep. Or like tell him like he needs to turn it on when he's actually about to go to bed. Because yeah, but I'll give this a 2 out of 3 as well, because it's not like actually like making my skin, like my hair stand up, but it is kind of scary to think there's this woman spirit that is talking to your son constantly all the time. Like that's actually creepy. But I give it a 2 out of 3. Those were our stories for the day, guys. This was fun. I can't wait to extend the show, have other people come on and share their experiences, and talk more with you guys about all of these things. Make sure down below, guys, you leave your ratings or your experiences so we can talk about your experiences on the show, or you can even come on the show. You never know. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Right back to our first episode of 2024 Paranormal Table Talk. We love you always. Have a good day.